out there drifting. Formula Drift World, O'Reilly Auto Parts Road to the Championship, presented by Permatex. We've seen the commercials, the orange thread locker available at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts. As Ryan, it's muggy. During that break, we were like, okay, it's got to rain a little bit maybe. And now it got pretty torrential there for a little bit. And, you know, it looked like it was clear from 8 to midnight. You know what? Mother Nature's like, nah, just going to change it up.
Yeah, that was one of those cells that kind of the same thing on Thursday, right? It was like there's nothing and then there was something. And I hope that is the end of it, because I would love to see at least a few dry battles. And I know that it's possible that we'll get some probably after the top 16, because the guys will be driving through the section of the course. It'll be heating things up. It'll be getting drier and drier. We already saw a little bit of smoke popping up, but of course we're going to have some siding laps. This is the first time for many of the drivers in the pro class that they've seen these kind of conditions, and so they will need to take a siding lap so that we can get the best possible competition out of them.
All right, so as these guys are making steam up top of the hill, because you're not seeing smoke, we see Frederick Osbo, our #1 qualifier. He'll be going against Matt Field in that Falcon Tires Borla exhaust heat wave Corvette. So hopefully he can bring the heat, as Osbo, again, that #1 qualifier, qualifying 17th. Matt Field, that's what he qualified. 30-second allotment for the burnout. We've now instituted that here in the 2019 season. And here we go, as Field will bring it in. And we will have that sight lap, so let them go through the course, get a feel for it in the wet conditions. This is the first these drivers have seen, because the pros saw completely dry conditions in qualifying, and then going into head-to-head, it was only till the last 5 battles we actually saw the rain.
Yeah, and it definitely made a difference, didn't it? The guys were talking about even 10% of the track being wet is enough to cause some major havoc and problems. So we'll see Frederick Osbo head out, as well as Matt Field for his siding lap.
Already comes in hot, man. I mean, it's pretty aggressive.
Well, I mean, if anybody is experienced in the wet conditions, it's going to be Frederick Osbo. A lot of the European drivers as well, also experienced. Osbo ice drifts, does all kinds of crazy stuff, so he knows what it's like to be losing traction. And, he's got a lot of confidence in that vehicle.
Wow, so, you know, already we're seeing some great driving in the still moist conditions. I'm liking it, loving it, want some more of it. And these drivers headed back up the hill. Osbo, Field, our first battle of the top 16. If the conditions stay the same, yeah, you bringing pizza up here, dude? Fire it up, bro. Bring it. Ryan, as Field and Osbo come to the line. Osbo had an early retirement in Orlando, affected his points. Matt Field, he also had an early retirement, if I can recollect. And now, our first battle here in the top 16, the infamous Road Atlanta. Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta here with Frederick Osbo, the Rockstar Energy Drink Next Entire Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. The steam goes off, and the steam will emit from the back end of these vehicles. Osbo leading, Field in the chase position. Our first battle, top 16. Osbo throws it in, gets out the rumble strip, hits the puddle, and Matt Field backs it in. Not the backwards entry we're looking for. He does spin it right back around, but that will be an incomplete run for Matt Field in the chase. Matt Field gets thrown off of his line, and you can see all that clay and all that dirt being brought onto the track. That's very slick out there. If you go off course, that's definitely going to affect your line. The Motegi Racing wheel dips just off course as he exits the keyhole. Osbo, man, looks like he's found the special sauce.
I think Matt Field felt like he had no choice there on that initiation but to stick with Osbo, and you can see it was very slick right there. He just was not able to hold that angle. He ends up spinning out. He gets an incomplete in the chase position, and this will put Osbo in a strong position here, because now with him chasing down Matt, he can be a bit more calculated. And for Matt, he's really going to have to go all out here in order to have Osbo bring a forced or an unforced air here on this second run.
James Steven watching. How we doing, man? Hopefully see it in Poland. James Steven out here watching as Matt Field now will lead with that deficit. Very unfortunate for him. And the tire, excuse me, not the tire, but the light extinguishes. And we are ready to rip. Here we go. Matt Field in that lead position. And Frederick Osbo in the chase. Around that first front clip, Matt Field now looking a lot more comfortable up front, but Frederick Osbo, no mistakes from him so far. In order to offset that big mistake and that spin, that 360 by Matt Field, Frederick Osbo will need to make a large mistake such as Matt Field did. Exiting out of the keyhole, no problem for Matt Field now, looking really good up front. Good proximity from Osbo. Matt Field the piece of the bay. And it looks like all signs are going to say Osbo.
Yeah, obviously with that big mistake in the first run by Matt Field and no major mistakes from Osbo, that would be equivalent. It looks like Osbo is going to be moving on into the grade 8. Here you see Matt Field doing a great job here in the lead run. Unfortunate for that spin because this is a solid performance from him. Osbo keeping it relatively tight here, all things considered with the conditions. A little puff of smoke there, but it's still very slick down on the course. Seeing these guys wrap through that final inside clip.
Slide him left for Field and slide him right for Frederick Osbo. You know the decision. Frederick Osbo gets the win, knocking out Matt Field. Osbo will advance on into the grade 8 as we are atop the hill. And look at these two Drift Alliance homeboys, two good friends. 4 championships between these two drivers, Chris Forsberg and Vaughn Gittin Jr., 2 day 1 drivers. Forsberg will lead in the NOS Energy Drink Nissan 370 Xeon Nexon tires. Vaughn Gittin Jr. will chase, but this is their sighting lap. They will sight the track, see where the spots are, either the puddles. Again, the surface changing from dry to wet. As we have the elevation changes, you can see that as just through the event today. Rising up, you can see it drying out a little bit more as it sloped down. Forsberg. Tires lasting definitely a lot longer here in the wet, not burning them down so much as Forsberg and Vaughn put out their feelers on how this track is. So Chris Forsberg, who qualified 8th, Vaughn Gittin Jr. qualifying 24th, and like Lorette Nichols said earlier, kind of uncharacteristic of Vaughn Gittin Jr. down in 24th. So now they go into the starting gates, and we're ready to send them. Getting the cameras ready. And again, 2 great friends off track, now going toe to toe. And here we go, Forsberg and Gittin. Second battle of top 16. Who's advancing on? Forsberg currently 2nd in points. Vaughn Gittin Jr., notably, his team thrashing to get his car back together in Orlando after he went hard on the wall, and now Forsberg with a very early initiation in that first front clip. Vaughn Gittin Jr. maxing out the angle. Forsberg, oh, Vaughn Gittin Jr. going off course a little bit. You see the attitude of the car coming into the horseshoe. Forsberg massages it all the way to the outside line. Vaughn Gittin Jr. comes in on the inside, taking out that cone. Forsberg initiates out. Vaughn Gittin Jr. getting that proximity. And now transitioning into that final clip. Goes Forsberg and Gittin. Nobody getting it off the track is what he's doing. Brings it back on Ryan.
Well, let's take a look at this. Both drivers initiating real early, trying to size each other up as this slick track definitely commanding how everybody needs to drive. You can see that front right tire drop from Vaughn. Chris out front, reaching pretty deep into the second outside zone. Here comes Vaughn, closing the door very tight here through that inside clip, hitting it with the front right, and now moving back down the hill. Pretty consistent proximity, but not door to door. Forsberg, a nice job in the lead position, and you can see how challenging the conditions are for these veterans.
So now we'll alternate. Vaughn Gittin Jr. will lead. Chris Forsberg will give chase. And the lights extinguish, the smoke goes off, and here we go. Gittin, Forsberg, clean start, no cones hit, no penalty assessed, and rain comes down a little harder now, unfortunately, so that's gonna add some more moisture to the track as Gittin goes in. Forsberg in that chase position. Gittin wraps it around that first front clip, now bringing it up the hill. Let's see how they handle. You can see him grabbing another gear into that outer zone. Forsberg shortening it up quite a bit. Keeps that proximity. Vaughn Gittin Jr. a wide swing around that front clip, working all the pedals for both these drivers. As Vaughn transitions into that final front clip. Ryan, as they were driving, again, a lot of applause here. The rain, look at the lights. There's a lot of rain coming down.
There's a great bit of driving there in certain parts, really staying under control by both drivers. Let's watch this as they transition up the hill here, trying to reach out to this outside zone. Is Vaughn Gittin Jr. with Chris following him into this second outside zone. Now watch Vaughn, he's gonna swing a bit wide here. Chris is gonna be on the inside where the right line is. Now he has to back off, otherwise he was gonna hit Vaughn, but he still stays in drift, so there's a good bit of drifting there to make that adjustment in the chase position. Vaughn out front, he got on that wide line, came a little bit tight on that last inside clip. Chris was keeping it tight through that final section of the course. So a good back and forth battle here, and as you said, Jared, variable conditions still in the mix here as we go to the judges.
Slide him left for Vaughn Gittin Jr., or right for Chris Forsberg. Chris Forsberg gets the win and advances on. Lantain, I'd like to get some words from you overall, what the judges are looking for. As Ryan Lantain, again, overall, what are you looking for in these less than ideal conditions? Also, while we get this sight lap going here, again, that battle there, and overall, because I feel like it's a sliding scale, right? Where we have the dry conditions earlier, and now it's changing throughout today and into tonight.
Honestly, we don't change much of what we're looking for. We're still asking these drivers to be perfect everywhere they're going on the track. And then all we're doing is analyzing who made the mistakes, where they made the mistakes, and how severe the mistakes were. So the demands from us haven't really changed. We did kind of change the way that we judge at this track. Last season we started this. Basically, we give them the opportunity to put their tire on the edge of the track for full points. If they then go on the rumble strip, that's also okay. They're not going to get an advantage going on the rumble strip, but they're not going to get a disadvantage on the rumble strip. And that's so that from dry to wet, it's consistent. And that way, we're able to really see who's pacing their car all the way up the hill accurately. Now, looking at what we saw from Vaughn and Chris, Vaughn was making quite a few mistakes in the chase position. He was dropping tires. We counted maybe 6 tires that he had dropped throughout the course, sometimes one at a time, sometimes 3 at a time. So he made a lot of mistakes in his chase run that were just not forgivable, especially when we compare it to what Chris did in his chase run, which is really accurate. He did a good job of mimicking and following Vaughn everywhere he went. So in that sense, really looking at those errors and mistakes gave us the win for Chris Forsberg.
And I kind of choose my words correctly here, or correct what I said. It's you're not changing the criteria, but it's essentially slow-mo. We're slowing everything down tremendously. And this leans more on driver prowess and car control as opposed to that big power, the big speed. This is a fairly good equalizer on that, because again, I challenge, again, on a closed course, but it's very difficult to drive in these conditions.
Yeah, these conditions slow everything down, certainly, and you can see a lot more of the movement in the car because the speed is so much slower, and it's so much easier for the cars to move around when it's wet like that. So I guess really what you said, it is a little bit slower, so that's the main thing that we're going to be a little bit more lenient on.
All right, thank you. As look at that, you are seeing a lot of rain here coming down on these drivers, and these guys, we saw Dirk Strat. first off, this is Dirk Stratton and James Dean. James Dean in lead position. Dirk Stratton coming to us from Ohio. James Dean, your two-time and defending champion. He's from Ireland. He's very familiar with driving in the wet. Dirk Stratton, I don't know how much he's driven, but again, Rookie of the Year as he's going up and going for it as here we go. Oh, and it looks like James Dean throws it in. Dirk Stratton backs it in. So James Dean looks like he will continue on through the course, and we might be seeing, and it doesn't look like we're not seeing a yellow flag there for James Dean. He will continue on. Look how comfortable he is, Ryan, behind the wheel of this Workhouse Drift Team Falcon Tires S15. I mean, rain does not phase him. As we were just talking with Ryan Lontaine about just slowing things down tremendously, he's going to have a major advantage. But he also has to take into consideration Dirk Stratton, not only a side lap, but then when it comes to competition, he spun out both times.
Well, we're seeing this from both Corvettes here, Matt Field earlier, and now with Dirk Stratton just not able to hold the angle coming down the hill. And as you mentioned, James Dean, very much a veteran in the rainy conditions. Back home, he's very, very used to this, along with Frederick Osbo. We've seen conditions like this before, but I don't think we've seen conditions with the Workhouse team in the past couple years like this, especially early on in competition. So, and especially in the head-to-head matchup. So now we're seeing James Dean just how comfortable he is in the rain here, and for the next battle here, as we mix things up, as Dirk Stratton takes the lead, James Dean will have an advantage.
Dirk Stratton will now lead. James Dean will give chase. Rain is just coming and going. Look, you can see how quickly it started, how quickly it ends, but consistently keeping the track wet. And I know, I can't remember which driver I was talking to yesterday, but I believe it might have been Adam LZ. I can't remember, but one of the drivers goes to throw it into, yeah, I think it was Adam, goes into qualifying, goes in the run, and it was raining and pouring, and it wasn't so much the rain, but his windshield fogged up. So this is where Rain-X really comes in handy. So hopefully everybody's slicked out with some Rain-X. Here we go, Dirk Stratton out front, James Dean in that chase position. Let's see how Dirk Stratton initiates. Again, he spun out on that first run. It looks like he keeps his composure now. So now James Dean, he's past the point of no return. James now needs to have an active chase here. If he was to have an inactive chase, oh, James Dean, a lot of flames coming out the backside of that Corvette. And now transitioning out of the keyhole. Dirk is just firing off, literally. Now transitioning into that final clip. We almost had a roasted Workhouse there as we, again, bring it back up the hill, Ryan.
Yeah, and we know here that we're seeing a disadvantage from Stratton in the lead position, but he's pushing hard here to try to force an air with James Dean in the chase. A little bit of shimmy there by Stratton, throwing some big fire, coming out, a little bit of straightening there. Looks like the car's having some issues. Goes a bit wide on that inside clip. And now sweeping back around, coming down the hill here. We will go to the judges' scorecards.
Slide him left for Stratton, but I think you know the decision here. James Dean unanimously gets the win. He keeps his composure. James Dean will advance on. Dirk Stratton knocked out. So we are already seeing 3 former champions and defending champion in the Grade 8, and Lorette Nickel caught up with one of those champions.
Well, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for this man right here, the rain is definitely starting to come down. And Frederick, this is a very slick course.
Absolutely, and you know, we were the first ones out there after top 32, and you never really know how wet it's going to be. And you know, luckily we get a sighting lap, and that allowed me to kind of get adjusted. And Matt made it easy for us with the 2 spins, but it's super treacherous. You really need to trust your car, and I did not have a very clean run, but it was enough to move on. And I think growing up in Norway, where we do get a lot of rain, is maybe a good thing. Although I do remember a few years back when Kenny Moen, my friend from Norway, and I went at it here, and we both looked like a monkey out there. So luckily today, so far, we've been a little bit better.
Congratulations, you're moving forward.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you, Lorette, and good luck to you, Frederick Osbo. You're going to be seeing Chris Forsberg in the Grade 8. So 2 champions going for it. And right now it is Odie Bakshi's, our current points leader, behind the wheel of his Falcon Tires field suspension. This is their sight laps, so don't mind the gap. And he's going against Forrest Wang, and Forrest Wang, truth be told, I know you love that saying, Forrest Wang has a wet track, or used to have a wet track. This is their battle back in Long Beach, as it was in the finals. And here's what we want it to look like in the dry conditions, Ryan.
Yes, this is what we want indeed. And you could see it was an incredible battle. Forrest was so quick this weekend and still had that great style that we all love. But Odie Bakshis now with 2 wins under his belt. This was his first one kicking off his 2019 campaign. But Forrest Wang was there through the finals and definitely got his year started off to a really amazing pace as well.
So that was flashing back to just 2 rounds ago, not too long ago, in kicking off the month of April. So just about a month ago, Odie Bakshis, Forrest Wang in the finals on the streets of Long Beach. And now here they are, the top of the hill here at Road Atlanta for the Ford Top 16. Odie Bakshis in the teal and blue, Falcon Tires, field suspension S14. Forrest Wang at Yellow Speed Racing, Energy Innovations, Get Nuts Laboratory, Achilles Tire S15. And the lights are off. Let's send it. Odie by himself looked really good on that siding lap. Seeing that wheel speed kick up. And look at Forrest Wang, very brave in that chase position, mimicking his angle. Like I said, Forrest Wang familiar with the wet track, as he has a wet track. He formerly had a track at his shop. And look at him right there on the door. Odie getting out to the outside zone. Forrest Wang shortening up just a little bit and now exiting out. Seems that all drivers kind of taking that line in the chase position, not getting all the way to the outside zone. Now transition into that. Look at that, Forrest Wang. Really good chase job there. Brian, were you aware of that he had a wet track? They basically would hose it down and drive around on the wet to conserve tires.
Yeah, well, it's definitely paying dividends here, and Forrest, like Chris, took advantage of a mistake that Odie made towards the end. But a great start here from Odie coming through that first inside clip, but Forrest is staying with him. Good job on the proximity. Look, he's mimicking the line coming up the hill. Comes in a little bit tighter here. Odie goes out a little bit deeper, but Forrest is keeping proximity, and I think that's going to be a big factor here overall. Now watch this as they come down the hill. Odie's going to come on this midline, push out a bit wide here, and Forrest is going to be on that tighter line, and then he's going to be able to gain proximity through that last inside clip. So a good bit of driving there, and obviously, Jared, as you know, huge championship implications. This is a top 16 battle. This is not where championship contenders want to go out, and both of them are very much in the hunt for the championship right now.
Yeah, that's right. Both these guys in the top 5, as Forrest Wang was on the box at round 1. And here we go. Forrest Wang now out front. Can Odie drive? Oh, wow, that's kind of an interesting initiation there. Getting doofed out with that super doof kit, throwing some mud on it. Oh, it looks like shredded that back bumper as Odie Bakshis gets into the mix once again. And look at that mud being sprayed in the face of that S14. And Odie right there. They knock over that front clip and now transitioning out. Odie said, hey, I can do this too, bro. Oh, and transitioning through. Oh, Odie using all of the course, Ryan.
Wow. This
yeah,
is actually,
it's really dope, actually. These guys are getting it.
It was a little bit of a weird, almost like double initiation there from Forrest on the onset, but both drivers ensue through the first corner. Odie keeps the pressure on here, and even with the wet, this is still really exciting to watch. You can see the mud on the front of Odie's car. Forrest goes deep into that second outside zone. Odie tight here. They rub right there through that inside clip. Now watch Odie transition. He gets a quick transition, which allows him to be on that line, tight on the inside. Forrest is on this tight line. Odie goes back around to that inside clip and keeps the pressure on, and also keeps it off the course. But there's that little double kind of initiation. It looked like he got a little squirrely there. I don't think that's going to help him in his overall approach. Judges are looking for the consistent initiation, though we do know that the conditions do play a factor.
Some great driving, some skillful driving, and just precise. Obviously not the higher speeds that we saw earlier in top 32, but it still shows how talented these drivers are. It looks like, let's look at it side by side here, Ryan.
Yeah, you can see maybe Forrest was trying to get set there for his initiation, but you definitely broke the tires loose a little bit. I do love this battle overall, and I would love for this battle to be judged on the lead and chase runs from both guys, because this is an incredible bit of driving from both competitors. I love the mud splashing up on Odie's vehicle, and I love the way that Forrest took advantage of that mistake that Odie made, and vice versa. Both guys here competing for their championship chase and doing a great job in driving in these just incredible conditions here at the in round 16.
All right, so our judges scrutinizing the runs. Slide them left for Wang or right for Odie, or keep in the middle for OMT one more time. Ryan says Odie, Andy says one more time, and Brian says one more time. Ryan, you got outnumbered here, so let's go one more time, and I honestly agree, but some great driving here before we move on to our next battle. Lorette caught up with the 3-time champ.
Well, earlier today, Chris Forsberg was competing in the dry, and now it's wet, and the conditions aren't steady. So is that kind of wrecking havoc with your setup and what you're doing out here?
Yeah, we obviously have a wet and a dry setup, and the car's been working great in both conditions. Well, this is the first wet lap we took all weekend, was just now in tandem against Vaughn. But we knew what we had to do to the car. Tandem this morning, top 32 was great, and yeah, as we came out here, right before we went, it started to sprinkle again, which is actually, if it's going to be wet, it's ideal because we want the track to stay consistently wet. Full downpour is bad because of all the puddles, and when it's the half wet, half dry, that's when it's really difficult as well.
All right. Well, best of luck moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Wow, it seems you could see a little bit of nervousness maybe in Forsberg's eyes there, but I like the way he explained it. You'd rather have it just consistently dusted with that rain, no puddles, and then the dry patches that Sean Adriano was talking about on the stream yesterday. So Chelsea Nofa, Patrick Gooden, we just saw them do their sight laps, or we heard them just as we were getting that interview with Chris Forsberg, but now it's Chelsea Denofa versus Patrick Gooden. Pat Gooden and Denofa. Chelsea Denofa will lead. He qualified really well in qualifying yesterday, qualified second, and Pat Gooden good as well in 15th. But Chelsea Denofa quite a bit higher. Here we go. Denofa, the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D comes into that first front clip. Patrick Gooden looks like he's nosing in. He is familiar with the wet. He lives in Orlando, Florida, so definitely familiar with the wet driving. He was right there on the backside of that Ford Mustang. Let's see if he can go all the way to the outside zone. Chelsea Denofa gets out there as Pat Gooden. Oh, Chelsea takes a wider swing, allowing Pat Gooden to get that proximity right there on the door as they exit out of the keyhole. Pat Gooden now zeroing in as Chelsea Denofa, big angle from that Ford Mustang, and around that final clip, some separation there around the final clip, Ryan, but just reminding you on how exuberant Pat Gooden was after his first battle.
Yeah, let's take a look at this again here as Chelsea Denofa and Pat Gooden come down into that first inside clip. Both drivers pushing extremely hard here and trying to battle through these wet conditions. Here comes Pat Gooden. He's on a good one right now this weekend. A little bit tight on the line there as Denofa reaches out to that second outside zone. He goes wide on that inside clip, leaves the door open for Pat Gooden, who tries to take advantage of it. Now coming through that section of the course, the S turns, big angle from Denofa. Pat Gooden not backing down, and a good first run there by both guys as we finish up.
Let's alternate the order here as Denofa will now chase down Pat Gooden. He is feeling the flow, but as is Chelsea, man. I mean, it's just so much talent, so much going on here. And rain comes down once again, Ryan. Look at this, just consistent, just spitting on us. You can see at the top of the hill, and now here it comes towards us. It's really coming down now. Look at that. It's coming down in sheets. And here comes Pat initiating. In that big puddle right there in that rumble strip, and Pat keeps it tight. Chelsea Denofa dives in on the inside. Pat Gooden heading up the hill into that outer zone, and it is torrential. You can see it. Where's the arc when you need it? And look at Pat Gooden getting all the way to outside zone, and Chelsea gets into the side of Pat Gooden. Look at Pat. He gives him thumbs up. Ryan, this is Atlanta, baby.
Wow, unbelievable. You can see big rain coming down right here, and it happens right when they leave the line. Both drivers making incredible adjustments to it, but it's all going to come down to this part of the run here. You see Gooden go pretty deep into that second outside zone. Denofa surging forward, and his front left wheel hits Pat's front right wheel and causes a spin. Let's take a look at it again here. Watch Denofa surge forward. You can see the hop, and it's the front left to the front right making contact, and unfortunately Pat could not move forward. So I have to assume that that is going to be on Denofa, but let's go to the judges for the fault.
And look, as heavy as it just came down, it's slowing down tremendously. So we're just getting these quick bursts of just torrential rain. Great job driving by Chelsea Denofa, but Pat Gooden gets the win. Pat Gooden advances on, and a lot of his accolades. So unfortunately, Chelsea Denofa knocked out the BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D, knocked out, but the Injuka Racing Part Shop Max S14.5, operated by Drift Cave, will advance on. He's going to be going against James Dean. Speaking of James Dean, Laurent Nichols with him now.
Well, I just said to James Dean, the weather is so, and he finished my sentence with the word Irish. The weather is so Irish right now. And with this rain and with it stopping, how's the visibility out there?
Visibility is actually the biggest challenge right now. I actually enjoy driving in wet weather, but when I went for my run, with every lap we did, because I was sitting in the car for maybe 15 minutes, the window was starting to fog up on the inside, and then you have the glare from the lights, from the track lights, just glaring the windshield. So we'll try to get some anti-fog for the next runs, but it's tricky. There's a lot of water spray off the cars, a lot of dirt on the track, and it's definitely a challenge. So you have to push hard, but you have to, try to find a balance between pushing hard and not spinning out, because it's treacherous.
Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Guys.
Well, James Dean, comfortable in the wet weather, as you heard there, Jared. Irish weather, as he says. He's going to be moving on, and a big upset in our previous battle between Chelsea Denofa and Pat Gooden. And Pat Gooden,
I mean, was it an upset, though?
I would say it's an upset in principle, based on rankings and Pat taking a season off.
That's fair.
However, he very much seems to be the fan favorite here this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody's kind of pulling for him, and he's pulling for himself. Again, you could really you could feel the vibes and everything. But
you can definitely feel the vibes for sure.
Right. I didn't mean to stop you mid thought there. Did you have anything else you wanted to elaborate on? That's fine. My favorite saying on Ryan's tombstone. That's fine. Sage. All right. So here's our siding lap from these two champions, Daijiro Yoshihara and Michael Essa. One of these gentlemen is going to be going against Passionate Pat in the Grade 8. You can see the Turn 14 distribution, Falcon tires, Subaru BRZ, Michael Essa. He's definitely a great driver in the rain. Both these guys, former champs. Right now, what's funny? Already in. So already in the Grade 8 are 3 champs and Pat Gooden. And then another champion is going to join them, either that of Daijiro Yoshihara or Michael Essa. So pretty interesting turn of events there. As Daijiro will lead. Daijiro qualified 7th. Remember, we have the one more time battle of Odie and Wang. You can see Odie Bakshi swiping that mud off his front end, and you can see them waving the doors there. I assume that is kicking down the fog on the inside of the windscreen, because yeah, they have good windshield wipers, maybe put Rain-X on there, but on the inside, you know, they don't have the modern kind of accoutrements as far as a defroster or anything like that. You can't just hit a button. So here we go. Steam goes off, and these steam punks are ready to throw down here. Rain coming down, not as hard as a previous run. Dai Yoshihara out front, Michael Essa in the chase position. Dai initiates, gets into that mud puddle. Essa doesn't go all the way out there, but I think that's okay because that is still the edge of the track that he was at. Head up the hill into this first outer zone, and Michael Essa right there. Quick little correction from him as Michael Essa straightens out quite a bit. Looks like he's just trying to keep that proximity, and he does. Now exiting out of the keyhole. Down back the hill goes Dai and Essa, and transitions into that last front clip. Well done, gentlemen.
Well, we're really seeing some dynamic and highly skilled driving here in the top 16 in these wet conditions. The pro drivers really seem to have the setup down, and you can see here from the onset, Dai and Michael Essa really doing a great job managing the variable track conditions even as the rain continues to come down. Here comes Essa surging forward, a little bit of a shimmy there. Dai staying locked on angle, reaching out probably midline to that second outside zone. Here comes Essa keeping pretty good proximity through that section of the course. Now Dai starts to accelerate out, and Essa looking for an opportunity. He brings it closer again, and nice switch back around. A good mimicking there by Essa in the chase position.
Now let's change it up. Essa now in the lead. Dai Yoshihara in the chase. We are officially more than halfway through the top 16. Osbo against Forsberg. James Dean against the winner of Odi and Wang. And then Pat Gooden against either Michael Essa or Daijiro Yoshihara. Michael Essa in the lead position. Essa Autosports, Achilles Tire, BMW. We want to see the drivers tip to tail, and they did just that. Dai not impeding on the line or initiation of Essa. Essa finding some grip. Look at him just rip up the hill, filling that outer zone. Gets all the way out there. Oh, and Dai Yoshihara shuts it down. If Essa continues on with his good angle and his line, he's got that touch and go right there. Boom, he gets out to it, transition into that final front clip, and it looks like it'll be his. And Michael Essa will be getting this victory here, Ryan. Unfortunately for Dai Yoshihara, you know, there was no contact there or anything, just shut it down in the keyhole.
Yeah, I think the grade 8 has got Michael Essa written all over it. You can see as we come up into the horseshoe here, this is where that mistake that Dai made is going to pay a lot of consequences. As he comes in, he's very tight on the line. Michael Essa gets out deep in that second out of zone, and he has an incomplete there. Kind of shuts it down and then has to reinitiate. And so with two pretty decent runs by Essa in areas where he did really well in the chase, you have to imagine that he's going to be moving on into the grade 8 after that strong performance.
Let's make it official and go to the judges. Slide him left for Essa, right for Yoshihara, the former champ. Michael Essa gets the win. Dai Yoshihara knocked out here in top 16. So like I said, Ryan, look at this. 4 former champs, Osbo, Forsberg, Dean, Essa. They're in the grade 8s. And Essa's going against Pat Gooden. He's the only not champion already right now. Speaking of Pat Gooden, Lorette's with him now.
I heard Pat Gooden's team talking to him, and Pat said, don't change anything. Don't touch anything. I love the way the car is working right now, and you must be ecstatic right now.
It's perfect. I don't think I've, 1, in the rain for sure, but 2, ever. I don't think I've ever followed anybody like I just followed Chelsea. That was insane, and the best part about it is, like, that's my boy. Like, we were just shredding, like back home in, like, crap cars. Like, oh, so good.
And obviously, this is so emotional for you, Pat. You and your team, you guys are making magic happen right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, we're taking out cars that are, like, brand new and fresh and have all this, everything into it. And, like, Matt built this car in, like, his garage with his friends. And, like, sure, it's updated and there's a lot of expensive parts on it. But, oh, my God, it's so good. It's just so good.
Everyone, again, is so happy for you. Keep charging. Keep moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys.
Lorette, I have to make an addendum to that. You know who's not happy? Chelsea Denofa and Travis Reeder. They're not happy for him because he beat them. I say that jokingly, but like he said, him and Chelsea used to shred at Orlando Speed World when Chelsea used to live there, and Pat's still holding it down in Central Florida. Again, he's just absolutely elated. So let's go revisit the one more time battle of Odie Bakshis and Forrest Wang. Conditions have changed. It's a lot more wet than when they went the first time. So this could definitely change things. Both of them had tremendous chase runs, and I think that's really the deciding factor here on the proximity, how you're chasing, mimicking the line. A lot of the drivers, I mean, let's say it, all of the drivers are really struggling in the keyhole. It seems like the keyhole is the really point of contention for all the drivers. So, yeah, go ahead. It's okay, it's okay. Here we go. Odie Bakshis and Forrest Wang here on this one more time battle. Odie leads, initiates. Forrest Wang actually about the same time into that first clip, and Forrest Wang throws it out, holds on. Ooh, a little correction there from Wang. Maybe got a little too nuts. Oh wow, Forrest Wang falling back quite a bit. Odie gets there, and that's what I was talking about. That keyhole on that second outer zone. A lot of the drivers struggling, keeping that proximity as they head back down the hill. Forrest Wang right there on the door. A great expectation of Odie Bakshis. He was right there, and he knew he was hanging it out. And I mean, that is kind of, you know, just kind of throw it in and pray.
Well, that was another really awesome run. Let's take a look at this again one more time. Forrest surging forward here, really tight, but he makes that little bit of a mistake there, that correction going up the hill. Lets Odie gap him into the second outside zone. Forrest has to cut the line there to gain proximity. I'm glad that he did that because that made it more exciting, but obviously he'll receive a little bit of a deduction comparatively speaking. But now look at him. He uses that and major proximity, super close right there. Good transition to back off for a second, and then both drivers come across the finish line. You can see big angle from Forrest in the chase. Odie doing great job consistently out front. This is the one more time battle, and there's that little mistake where he straightens out for a second and reinitiates. So obviously the judges will have to look at the duration of that mistake when he brought it back to neutral for a second and how that plays overall. But now we're switching things up as Forrest Wang will go to the lead position.
All right, so now Forrest Wang will be out front. Odie in the chase position. The winner to go against James Dean. Oh, and Odie Bakshis. So it looks like we got a false start there. So Forrest Wang, good catch there. So we had a false start. Forrest Wang jumping the light. Forrest Wang will lead. Odie Bakshis in the chase position. Like I said, Forrest jumping the light, and here we go. Odie Bakshis not vying for that early jump in the chase position. And Odie drops into formation. Forrest Wang using all of the course, getting all the way out to that rumble strip. Woo! Look at that, both of them sliding in the wet. Really good composure from both the drivers. There it is, the mud on Odie's front end once again. And Odie Bakshis taking that tighter line. Forrest Wang getting out there. A great lead run here from Forrest Wang. Odie goes off a little bit, but allowed. And look at him, just working all the pedals. Oh, contact. He made contact.
Unbelievable. Even in these conditions, these drivers have managed to give us an incredible show here. Nice initiation by Forrest, but Odie sticking with him. I mean, this is some crazy driving. Odie adjusts, as you can see, Forrest goes a little bit deep coming out of inside clip number one. Now up the hill, a little bit of separation. Forrest deep into that second outside zone, but Odie Bakshis right there on the inside. Now watch this. The transition back around, Odie tucks up in, he drops that left front reel, but then he stays super tight here and backs off for a second, gets that amazing transition, and then again, door to door as they cross the finish line. That's coming out of inside clip one, and you can see Forrest pushed a little bit too long there, and then Odie was playing catch up the hill, and here's the final section. Look at that, in unison, mimicking, and then Odie still able to tuck the nose in and push right through the finish line.
Little butt bump there. First you put in the bag, then in the bag, bump, bump. All right, so Odie Bakshis, Forrest Wang. The completion of that one more time battle. Do we have a victor? How you feeling out there, Atlanta? Thanks for enduring this rain. Make some noise. Slowed down considerably, but some exciting driving. We're up here in our plastic box of emotion. We have some windscreens, but I'll tell you what, it is humid. It smells like men up here. Forrest Wang versus Odie Bakshish. Slide him right for Odie Bakshish. Odie gets the win. As Odie gets the win, Pat Gooden, he moves on, and so does this gentleman, Michael Essa. He's with Lorette.
Well, the front of Michael Essa's car looks like it has been off-roading, and you haven't been, but you are experiencing visibility issues. Talk to us about what you're seeing on the track or what you're not seeing.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously in the follow position, it's really hard to see, especially on entry. There's so much water spray coming off the other cars, and inside the car, it's really hot. The windshield's fogging up. I got this little blower in here. I'm trying to point at it and trying to dry my glasses are fogging up, and it's crazy. This track is so spotty. Entry is so slow, and then you have some decent grip in the horseshoe, and then you come back down, and it's all loose again. No practice at all in the rain, and we're just going for it. And now we just beat Dye and moving on to the top 8. So, you know, the rain's working for us, I guess, for now. So we'll see how it goes.
Good job, Michael.
Thank you.
Guys.
Ryan, I was jokingly and lovingly saying, you know, if Lorette went over to him and just, I can't see anything, his glasses are completely fogged over. I'm surprised that they didn't look like they were affected at all, because that's another windscreen, right?
You stepped away for like half a step. He said that he's having to wipe his glasses.
Oh,
down.
he is.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So literally what he said, yeah, because that's another variable. And Ryan Turk, he wears glasses as well. This should be a wild one to watch, because these guys, in qualifying and practice, they're super fast. They just did do their sight lap, so this is it. This is for the advancement into the Grade 8. But both of them are very fast. Their entries are gangster, and they're going all the way out to the outer zone. Now here in the wet, completely changes the scenario. So Ryan Turk will lead. He had a better qualifying position of 3rd compared to Dean Carnage Carney's 14th, but Ryan Turk in that gum out. Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 on Nitto tires, and Dean Carnage Carney, look at that. That small windscreen. On that Viper, he's got the windscreen, he's got his windshield, and then he's got the visor, and that's a short windshield when you're sitting in that cockpit. So he has a minimal viewing area, and look at that. Those, you can see him wiping down the inside of it. This is gonna be a problem. I guess, you know, I was jokingly saying to you that, you know, since it's not dry, we're not getting filled with smoke and having to clear it out like Pro 2 yesterday, but instead of smoke, it's fog. So that's the variable that the drivers really have to deal with and see through. So here we go, Ryan Turk, Dean Carnage Carney, the first portion of this battle. Ryan Turk coming down the hill. Let's see how they initiate. Ryan Turk gets into the puddle, throws it into that first front clip, and whoa, Dean, big, massive angle, but back quite a bit of distance. Another Irish driver, as James Dean from Ireland as well. He says he loves it, but Dean Carnage Carney in that SRT10 Dodge Viper. Ryan Turk gets all the way out there. Dean Carney now onto the side of that gum out. Nitto tire, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 of Ryan Turk coming back down the hill. He's definitely utilizing that Rain-X on the windscreen. Transitions back around that final front clipping point. Oh, buddy, overcooking it. Goes Dean Carney off the track.
That was a great save, 2 great saves by Dean in this battle. And with Turk, he had a pretty solid lead run out front. Watch this right here. Dean in the chase, falls back, huge angle. Now he's able to keep driving forward without causing too much of an error, but he falls really far behind here. So he had a bit too much angle there and wasn't able to stay with Turk. Turk, meanwhile, out front, fills that second outside zone. He goes a bit wide on that inside clip, which allows Dean to take that line and now close the door. Dean was playing catch up, and now he's got much better proximity. Great job here. Switching back here is Dean trying to tuck into this last section of the course, and then just right in front of the finish line.
Oh, man.
He is able to complete the course and just drops a couple tires there, but it was after the finish line. So switching things up now, Jared, you can see the drivers actually wiping the inside of the vehicle here to get that fog away, as you mentioned. So really challenging conditions. Hearing from the drivers, as we just did hit from Michael Essa, really gives them some insight to what they're dealing with.
6 drivers already in the Grade 8. Again, Osbo versus Forsberg, James Dean versus Odie Bakshish, Pat Gooden versus Michael Essa, and the winner of this battle will go against either Piotr Visick or Jonathan Castro. All right, so here we go. On this second half of this battle. And here we go, the second half of this battle. Dean Carnage Carney will lead that Oracle Lighting Achilles Tire Dodge Viper. Ryan Turk at Gumout Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nitto Tires, initiating into this first front clip. Diving in are both the drivers, and now transitioning up the hill. Dean Carney getting to that outside zone. And now let's see how they manage this second outer zone. Dean gets out there. Ryan Turk just a bit shy, but keeps the composure in the chase position, exiting out of that horseshoe. Now powering down is Dean Carney. Ryan Turk a bit of a distance back here. And Dean finding some grip and pulling away and separating from Ryan Turk.
Well, remember in the lead run we had Turk pulling a gap with Dean reeling him in towards the end after that mistake after inside clip number 1. This time Turk is pretty close to Dean on initiation, but Dean looks like he's got a bit more grip here. He starts to pull away from Ryan coming up the hill and extends that. Here's Turk surging a little bit, pulling it back in, but as they get to this second outside zone, which Dean fills really well there, Turk is on the inside, and this is where we start to see the separation coming out of the keyhole down the hill. Turk starts falling back a little bit. He was doing a great job up until that point and leaving a little bit on the table here towards the end, but it's a close battle. Dean did have that big mistake in run number 1. He was able to reel Ryan back in. Turk, meanwhile, was more consistent in the chase position for a longer period, but then did have that gap towards the end. So we'll have to see what the drivers think about, or the judges think about their lead run comparison and how that will play into the overall result.
Look at that, getting right there to the edge of the course, and I know the judges, look at that, the fans right there, yeah, screaming like they won. But I know the judges in the driver's meeting said, hey, you go off the course right there where the mud people are. It is very slick. Here we go, slide him left for Carney, right for Ryan Turk. Ryan says Ryan Turk. Brian says one more time. Andy says Ryan Turk gets the win. Lontaine, I'm going to throw it over to you. So Ryan and Andy saying that Turk gets the victory. Some great driving by Dean Carney, and again, it was not unanimous, but Lontaine, going to you real quick.
Came down to the mistake that Dean Carney made in the chase position, especially from inside clip 1 going up the hill, and lost a lot of proximity there, and he really had to make a big sacrifice to get back into proximity with Ryan, and Ryan did a really good job in his lead run, so ended up going with Ryan Turk.
Right on, I appreciate that. Here's our sight lap, so it's a good opportunity to catch up with a driver that's already in the Grade A. This is Peter Visick and Jonathan Castro for their sight laps. Lorette Nickel is at the top of the hill with Odi Bakshis, our current points leader.
Odi Bakshis jumped out of his car, and the first thing he said was, I gotta go talk to Forrest. So it tells a lot about our sportsmanship, your sportsmanship, and you know, the caliber of drivers out here. Odi, what did you say to Forrest?
I said, you're crazy, man, because that was it was an epic run. I mean, I didn't know which way I was going to go. I felt some bumps from Forrest following me, so I knew I had to return the favor and make it look aggressive. And man, we're going crazy out there. It might look kind of slow because it's very slippery, but for how sketchy the situation is out there right now, I feel like we were driving like madmen, and we were just having a lot of fun. So I had to hop out and say, hey, that was a fun run.
Your next battle, you're going to see James Dean. How do you get one up on him?
Well, you know, I'm going to leave that up to my spotter, and I'm just going to drive as hard as I can and just adapt to the ever-changing conditions, because I had a one more time run, and in between the one more time it started pouring again, so I think it's just going to be all about adapting.
Okay. Odi, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Guys?
Thank you, Lorette. Ryan, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's great hearing from these guys, and you know, as much as we would love to see fast, smoky drifting and crazy battles, there's something about battling through adversity with these drivers in these rainy conditions that is really inspiring. And so hearing from Odi and how he talked about his fellow drifter there, Forrest, and seeing some of the battles we've seen so far, it's very, very encouraging to me that we're going to see some more.
Yeah, like I said, the equalizer is the rain. So now the driving prowess is what needs to shine. Peter Visick, Jonathan Castro, Poland versus Dominican Republic, S15 versus Toyota 86. As Peter enters into big, massive angle from Peter, using all of the course, transitions in, and allows Jonathan Castro to gain some ground and gain that proximity. As Peter gets into that outside zone, you see Castro taking a bit of angle out of it, and he shortens up, makes a mistake in that chase position from Jonathan Castro. Peter from Poland looks like he executes it very, very well. Now coming back down the hill, the red, white, and blue vehicles here. Again, back up, and Castro, both of them just dipping that back left tire off the course.
Well, Pieter definitely went very hot into that first corner, and that allowed Jonathan Castro to catch up, but then Castro made a big mistake. Huge angle here from Pieter. Watch, he makes that adjustment, just barely saves it going off. This is where Castro is able to surge forward and gain some proximity, but similar mistake that Dye made. He came in a little bit tight, lost his grounding. He basically kind of straightened out, made that big mistake that was right here in front of the judges' stand, and now he's going to have to drop a left front wheel to try to catch up to Peter Visek on that section of the course as we finish up, and both drivers go a bit wide there, but it is after the finish line. So we will now switch things up as Peter Visek will chase down Jonathan Castro.
Let's alternate positions here for Castro and Peter Visek. As Castro will now lead Visek. This is the final battle, top 16, and the rain actually came down in between that end of that run, so we got another quick little sprinkling there, just dusting it as Castro comes in, and Peter Visek not giving him an inch in these wet conditions. Look at that, into the first front clip. Peter, absolutely confident here in the wet. Comes up the hill. Castro, about 3/4 of the way out to that outside zone. Visek gives him some room. Nice snappy transition. Man, the rate to angle there exiting that keyhole. Now crawling into that final clip, buddy. They were inverted.
Inverted. Well, it looks like a mistake from Castro towards the finish line.
And on his first run too, unfortunately.
Yeah, but a very exciting 2 laps here between these two competitors, and similarly painted vehicles. As you take a look at Castro coming through the horseshoe here, Visek is going to dive in, switch back around, nasty right there by Castro, drops that front left. You can see that hole starting to dig out a bit deeper now. And then as Castro flicks back around, he does it a little bit too quickly and ties up the vehicle, not able to finish through the finish line. Good move there by Visek to avoid any bad collision, but unfortunately for Castro, I think this is going to be enough for him, or he's going to be getting knocked out at this point, gets bounded up and is not able to hold that drift angle through that last section of the course.
Inspecting the track here. Jonathan Castro, Peter Visek, slide him left for Castro, and I think you know the result. Slide him right for the Candyman. Peter Visek gets the win and advances on. Our grade 8 is set. Osbo versus Forsberg. James Dean versus Odi Bakshis. Pat Gooden versus Michael Essa, and Ryan Turk versus Peter Visek. The grade 8 when we return here to O'Reilly Auto Parts Road to the Championship, presented by Permatex. We'll do some housekeeping. You can see all the mud strewn about here at Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. Round 3 of the Formula Jet Black Magic Pro Championship. Grade 8 continues when we return.
The Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship is brought to you by Falcon Tires, Achilles Radial, Nexen Tire, and by Nitto Tire.
And we are just about to get the next battle underway, but let's first go down to Lorette Nickel, who's with Ryan Turk.
Well, a lot of guys out here are dealing with visibility issues, and Ryan said he is a little bit, but the biggest problem right now is wet shoes.
Wet shoes.
Wet shoes. So what's happening there?
So the race shoes that all the drivers use have a very thin sole, and mine have a little bit of leather underneath the rubber grip on the bottom. And since I've been walking around on wet asphalt for the last 10, 15 minutes, it's just saturated into the leather, so it makes the pedals a little slippery. Nothing crazy that we can't handle. We just got to make sure we wipe the shoes down and get all of the saturation off before we hit the track.
Okay. And it's hot, it's humid out here. How is that affecting you?
It's been, it definitely is affecting me a little quicker than I think other drivers, with still getting over the symptoms of concussion. you know, your body and your brain tire a lot more quickly than you realize, and the heat definitely accelerates that. So it's one of the things I've just been trying to manage throughout the weekend, making sure that I'm jumping into air conditioning, making sure obviously I'm drinking plenty of water, all of that stuff, and been good so far.
And you're moving on, so great job.
First top 8, we're pumped.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Thank you.
Guys?
So the grade 8 is set here, Jared, and it's Frederick Osbo and Chris Forsberg here. A big battle. And we've got James Dean and Odie Bachis, Pat Gooden and Michael Essa and Ryan Turk and Piotr Visek, sending these guys out for their siding lap. First battle in the grade 8, looking like a doozy here. Clearly, Forsberg right now has the advantage in the championship, but Osbo has the momentum with that #1 qualifier. Looks very comfortable in the rain.
Looks fast. To be honest, I think he seems to be, perception-wise, one of the fastest through this course in these conditions.
Yeah, so the expectations definitely very big for both guys, both teams wanting these points. A grade 8 is still a good place to finish, and that's going to be the result for one of these two drivers. But of course, as you're trying to rack up those championship points, for Osbo, I think the pressure is really on him. He went on the top 16 in Orlando. Forsberg's had 2 podiums back-to-back. And so we will now get this underway with Osbo taking the lead as the higher qualified driver.
Frederick Osbo, #1 qualifier in that Rockstar energy drink, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla hatchback. The signature blue Motegi Racing wheels on the corners, wrapped in those Nexen tires. Chris Forsberg running Nexen tires as well, but running that VR setup, that GTR engine under the hood of his NOS energy drink, Nissan 370Z. Here we go. Osbo and Forsberg, 4 championships between them. Here we go. Osbo out of the gate. Chris Forsberg in that chase position. You can see that just slight sheen on top of the asphalt. Tip to tail, initiating both the guys at the same time. Good execution from Osbo. Forsberg right there, throwing a bit more angle at it, maybe taking a little speed out of the vehicle, and he's gonna need it because Osbo rips up the hill into this second outer zone. Forsberg doesn't go all the way out there, Osbo does. Now transitioning out of the keyhole, Osbo and Forsberg hits that touch and go, and now transitioning into that final clip. Osbo pulls away from Forsberg just a little bit.
Well, such a risky maneuver here from Chris Forsberg in the chase position, trying to stay right door to door with Frederick Osbo on initiation. He knows he needs to push 100% here. Angles up a little bit, then pulls back in. Osbo out front in the lead position, looking very solid, making his way up from that outside zone 1. Beautifully done into outside zone 2. A little bit of a shallower line there from Chris on the inside. Keeps the proximity pretty decent here coming down the hill. Now trying to surge and attack on the inside, but Osbo does not let him, and a gap established just right there before the finish line.
So now at the top of the hill, one of these drivers, if Osbo gets the win, he is guaranteed a podium. Forsberg qualifying 8th, he needs to win, obviously, in order to advance on to the Final Four. But if Forsberg wins, or excuse me, if Osbo wins, as Forsberg will now lead, and Osbo will give chase. Forsberg barreling down the hill. Osbo initiating a little bit later, not mimicking the angle there. And Osbo cuts the corner on that first front clip, now coming up the hill into this first outer zone. Into that second outer zone. Goes Forsberg, Osbo now on the door of Forsberg. Coming out of the keyhole, Forsberg rips down. Osbo right there in the chase position. Now transitioning past that front clip. Goes Forsberg and Osbo. So Ryan, I think Forsberg had a good entry and beginning in the chase. Osbo a little bit back down, but Osbo with a good chase on the latter portion.
Yeah, Chris was door to door with Osbo through inside clip 1. Let's take a look at Chris's lead. Let's see if he's able to get out to this first outside zone. Does a pretty good job there. Osbo starting to close the door now as Forsberg comes up a little bit shorter in that section of the course than Osbo. Osbo tightening it up now. Nice snap back around by Chris. Osbo unable to be shaken, and a much better job in proximity on the last 3 quarters of the track here, finishing up with a good impression to the judges. So this is going to be a tough one to call as we take a look up at the start line. And getting ready for the judges to put down their score here between these two champions. 3X for Forsberg, 1X for Frederick Osbo. And here we go.
Slide him left for Forsberg, right for Osbo, Ryan, Andy, and Brian. Ryan says Osbo, Andy says one more time, and Brian says Frederick Osbo gets the win. Osbo gets the win, taking out Forsberg. Going to Lontaine, going to you again. You and, so go ahead, elaborate.
Yeah, Brian and I both went with Osbo. It comes down for me to the lead run, where Osbo was filling the zones a lot better. He was able to get all the way up to outside zone 2. If you look at Chris Forsberg's lead run, he wasn't able to get all the way up to outside zone 2, and that's a really key part of this track that we've been pointing out all weekend. The commitment that's required to get all the way up to outside zone 2 while fulfilling the commitment side of the style portion of qualifying judging has been very, very important, and that's something that we were weighing pretty heavily.
All right, so Frederick Osbo gets the victory. Next up will be Dean and Odie, James Dean and Odie Bakshies. Before that, James Dean's teammate, Piotr Visik, is with Lorette Nickel.
Peter takes the win, and you're dealing with really inconsistent track out there. So what are you experiencing?
Yeah. We get the side lap before our actual battle, so I was feeling really good. I felt like the conditions are pretty stable all over the course. But then I went on my first scored run, and immediately the car went exactly spot what I wasn't expecting at all. So that was unexpected, and the conditions are on the track, as you said, they are really tricky. You cannot expect what's going to happen. The car is constantly appearing in a different place, but once you can, find yourself in that particular spot, in general it's fine, but you never know. It's a lottery today.
Peter, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Jared.
Thank you. Piotr Visik, he will be going against Ryan Turk, as we have our first competitor in the Final Four, that being Frederick Osbo. And here we see James Dean and Odie Bakshies, our current points leader, going against our defending champion, two-time defending champion, both 2017 and most recently 2018. But the podium has evaded James the Machine Dean, the Machine not living up to his nickname because the Gremlins are trying to break down the machine. Odie Bakshies, on the other hand, all things are golden girls for this gentleman. So James Dean will lead, as Dean qualified 4th. Odie Bakshies qualifying just the next spot after him in 5th. And the doors are open, closed, and here we go. The 2JZ S15 Sylvia, Wordhouse 15 Falcon tires of James Dean out front. Supercharged V8 under the hood of Odie's vehicle. James Dean initiates. Odie Bakshies taking a bit of a shallower line. You can see some wavering from him. And James Dean saying, remember, if you can recall Ryan earlier, saying he loves the weather, he's okay with it. Love is a strong word, but he definitely likes it. And there into that outside zone goes Dean. Odie taking that shallower line. Again, it seems to be the broken record. The chase driver having a difficult time to get out to that outside zone, but Odie, no problem getting to the side, and that's where he flourished against Forrest Wang, and whoa, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
Sick.
Odie seemed a little bit shaky on the first little half of that run. You can see he's on a tighter line here, but he really poured it on towards the end. But what's going to stand out here is the comparison of the leads, because we know that James Dean in his lead right here was pretty solid. Odie had a couple mistakes in his chase here. He comes up a little bit tighter. Dean gets to that second outside zone. We just saw that pay dividends between Osbo and Chris Forsberg. Nice job by Odie. He drops that left front. He really maximizes the proximity duration here, and then switches back around and tucks it up on the inside, tapping James and still able to keep angle while not spinning out through the finish line. So definitely some high marks there, but we've seen James Dean's lead run. We've seen Odie's chase run. Now let's switch it up, Jared, and figure out who's going to be moving on into the Final Four.
Odie Bakshies, James Dean, Odie now out front. He took down Forrest Wang earlier, as well as Kyle Mohan in 32. James Dean went through Dirk Stratton. Dirk Stratton had some mistakes, so Dirk Stratton taking himself out of competition. And now Odie Bakshies out front, and James Dean, it's like he's spraying glitter all over the place. What's going on back there? As Odie Bakshies Now comes up the hill, but James Dean right there. Looks like Odie finds some grip. Look at that, so the track really changing. You can see a bit of a handbrake, and James Dean right there in the chase position, transitions back. And all those points leaders in the top 5 are definitely pulling for James Dean to shake things up. And it looks like James Dean might have very well done that, Ryan.
Nasty.
Nasty?
Nasty towards the end there. Yeah, somebody was there's stickers. Look, it's his.
Is that what?
It's
his wind screen.
His
I
windshield.
thought he was throwing a party like mid initiation.
That, and you know what? That has got to be very distracting. Here we go into the battle here. James Dean already putting the pressure on Odie from initiation. Got out to a pretty good line. He's also able to fill that second outside zone. Now sweeping through this section of the course. James Dean, nice transition there. Stays tight on the inside, pushing forward. Here comes James. Odie, mid-high line, sweeping back around as James, tucking in and keeping the pressure on with one little push there through the final last inside clip by James Dean. Another great battle here. As you mentioned, Jared, conditions are changing. These hot tires heating up the course. We saw a couple puffs of smoke there, but a really interesting set of circumstances as now we go to the judges.
Slide him left for Odie, right for James Dean. Ryan, Andy, and Brian say James Dean gets the win. So it seems that the rain has chilled out Odie Bakshi's and put a stop to his three-peat, meaning 3 wins in a row. He won in Long Beach, he won in Orlando, but he will not win here in Atlanta. So Osbo, again, #1 qualifier. He will be guaranteed a podium. James Dean, he qualified 4th, and that is one side of the bracket. So Osbo and Dean, they are in the Final 4. 2 more battles left in the Great 8 to dictate who is going on into the Final 4. Right now, this is the sight lap for Michael Essa and Pat Gooden. And look at that, you can see just the different patches of either dry or wet here in the Great 8. Pat Gooden, again, the words of the wreck, don't change a thing. This Achilles tire in Juku Racing, S14.5. Passionate Pat going against the gentleman Michael Essa and that Essa Autosports Achilles tire, BMW. Both these guys on Achilles tire. So we have Nexon and Falcon already in the Final 4. Which one of these Achilles drivers? And then we have Nitto versus Falcon, Ryan Turk versus Piotr Visick after this battle. What are you glancing at, Ryan?
I'm thinking about the possibilities of the final.
Okay.
The matchups of the final.
Osbo Dean, who's going here? We got Good and Essa. Could, yeah. I mean, there's a possibility you're pointing out. James Dean versus Piotr Visick. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
But we still have 2 more battles to go to figure that out. 3 more battles to go to figure that out.
No, well.
1, 2.
Theoretically,
1,
no.
2,
1 and then no. Oh, got it,
3,
yeah. Got it, yes. And that's if Piotr Visick gets the win. Here we go. This is Michael Essa and Pat Gooden. Essa Autosports BMW, really fast through the course, but Pat Gooden says this is the best car here. That's the quote. Will he take it all the way to the top? Lacking the angle there on initiation. Essa with massive angle there. And now Essa comes up the hill. Pat Gooden, good proximity. Essa with great angle there into that second outer zone. Now Pat Gooden drops into formation, nosing in and noses over that gum out clipping point. Now coming back down the hill is Essa, and around that final clip goes Michael Essa. Like I said, very fast is that BMW.
Well, he just looks so at home in these conditions, and it's surprising because he keeps wiping his glasses to take the fog off. But watch this. Really snappy initiation, given the rain, big angle through that inside clip. Pat Gooden following through with a little bit less angle. Now coming up the hill here, Gooden, great job on proximity, pulls a little bit of angle out of the car, but Michael Essa gets pretty deep into that second outside zone. I like the attacking here by Pat Gooden, a little bit tight on that inside clip. Nice switch back around by Essa. A little bit of a gap established, but Pat gets back on it, tries to close the door on the transition. And a good battle to start things off. Michael Essa looking solid in the lead. Pat Gooden pushing the pace in the chase position, and now we get to switch things up.
Brooks Church, Ray, nice. We got King of Spring Break feeling good and not bad. And not bad meaning good, but bad meaning good. And the People's Champ, that's right. Doing it for Donna, not doing it for Dale. 3 ever, brother. Here we go. Pat Gooden out front. Michael Essa wants to put a stop as Pat Gooden initiates and crawls into that first front clip, allowing Essa to gain right there to the door of that S14 and now pulls off. Wow, a ton of mud. Wow, not only is rain a variable, but he used the mud gun. Looked like a stucco gun being thrown at Michael Essa as they bring it out of out of that keyhole. Wow, look at Essa. Now we got a mud bogger, man. We are truly in Central Florida, man. This is all Pat Gooden, brother.
Oh my goodness. Michael Essa got straight blasted out of inside clip 1. Here's the initiation from Pat Gooden. Rolls into it. Here comes Essa, super tight. Watch as Pat drops right there. He's going to get sprayed. You'll see it as he comes up the hill here. It's all over. He's using the wipers to clean it off of the vehicle. And now coming into the second outside zone. Great job by Pat in that second outside zone, but Essa keeping the pressure on through that inside clip. Now wrapping back around. Good flick there by Pat Gooden. He catches it, but here comes Essa, towing him in, reeling him in here towards the end. And a good conclusion here to an amazing battle between these guys fighting for position in the Final Four.
Slide him left for Gooden, right for Michael Essa. Ryan, Andy, and Brian say Michael Essa. A round of applause there for Pat Gooden. A great day for him. But Michael Essa gets the win and moves on to the Final Four.
Yeah, Pat Gooden definitely deserves our gratitude. It was a great event weekend for him, no doubt about it.
All right, so as we go on to our next battle, Ryan Turk and Peter Visick, Laurent Nickel caught up with a contender for a perfect event. He's our #1 qualifier. He's in the Final Four, Frederick Osbo.
Well, Frederick, there's a lot of hands on your car right now, and car is being wiped down, a lot of mud. The visibility is difficult. Do you feel like you excel in these challenging conditions?
I don't know. We have had a history of maybe doing well in the rain sometimes, but we've also had a history of everything failing and me going off track in the rain. So it really is hard to predict exactly the outcome. And when it's, difficult conditions like today, you never really know what you're going to get dealt. And my car right now looks like a rallycross car, and I'm very much inspired by rallycross. And I had a blast now going out there against Chris. I have mad respect for Forsberg, and he had an equally quick car. So it was a tit-for-tat battle. It was super duper fun. Took me right back to 12 years ago, racing on the west coast of Norway.
Well, there's a lot of movement around your car right now, so I'm going to get out of the way. Best of luck moving forward.
Thank you.
Jared.
Here are our next competitors. Our final battle of the Grade 8, 3 drivers already in the Final Four. That gentleman, Frederick Osbo, is going against James Dean, and then Michael Essa will go against either Piotr Visick or Ryan Turk. And Ryan, you talked about it. James Dean and Piotr Visick, they've gone against each other in the past. Holy cow, look at that thing. Woof. Man. And let the jokes ensue, right? But like the rallycross, man, you're gonna need that whole roll of paper there, bud. Looks like a crime scene. This reminds me of when they brought back Woodstock, the Mud People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a car wash.
All right, so Michael Essa cleanup. Look at he's wiping the windscreen, but you can see how much condensation is on the inside.
Inside, yeah. And
yeah.
I saw Kevin off screen there. He walked. I think he said something to him like, "Dude, your car is a mess."
Man. So under that, Redline Oil, Ignite, Achilles Tire, Essa Autosports, all his sponsors, definitely not being seen right now. But that's a weapon of mass destruction right there, because he's already in the Final Four. And Essa qualified, where did he qualify at? He actually qualified 10th. And then Turk qualified 3rd, and Piotr Visick qualified 6th. So Here we go. Ryan Turk, Piotr Visek. Ryan Turk initiates. Wow, look at that. Looking like a splash, looking like Shamu getting into there as Piotr Visek bounces back. Oh, look at that. Piotr Visek right there on the door of that gum out. Toyota Racing, Toyota 86, all the way out to that second outer zone goes Ryan Turk. A really good lead run here from Ryan Turk. Snappy with that rate to angle out of the keyhole. Getting into that touch and go, transitioning now into that final front clip. Visek was shadowing wherever Ryan Turk went, but I gotta say, a really good lead run. The judges want to see them go all the way out to that second outer zone, and Ryan Turk did that.
Yeah, you can see the momentum starting to pick up as they head down into the initiation point, starting to get a little bit faster there, and seeming that the track it's not drying up, but getting a little bit more comfortable and quicker here. Ryan Turk from that first outside zone into that second outside zone. Great job there, very deep, but Peter Visek is staying with them. You can see him surging, backing off, surging, backing off. Nice snap back around by Turk. Love that. That was a great job, very stylish, but Peter Visek is right there. We've got a great battle on our hands here as both drivers going back and forth here to find out who's going to be our final driver in the Final Four.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Just wiping the headlight. That is clay, man. Just Slippery When Wet comes to mind, you know, as far as soundtrack. Little Bon Jovi. You know, it's my life, it's now or never. You know what I mean? I want to live forever. I'm a cowboy. On Steel Horse I ride. Here we go. Let's change it up. Piotr Visek will be out front. Ryan Turk in the chase position. The final battle of the Grade 8. Who's going against Essa in the Final Four? Piotr Visek out front. Wow, look at that. I mean, he's acting like he doesn't even have the wet surface. And now past that mud. Whoa, Ryan Turk comes in hot as well. Now up into that first outer zone. Oh, looks like Peter Visek takes some angle out of it. He adjusts to get out to that second outer zone. Ryan Turk accommodates for that shifting. And now out of the keyhole goes Peter Visek, and Ryan Turk right there, banging wheels with Peter Visek around that final clip. Make some noise for Visek and Turk. Woo!
Everybody's getting way more confident and comfortable here, and we're the ones getting the gift from all of this great driving. Peter Visek and Turk blow through that inside clip. Speed starting to pick up here. Visek taking the lead, getting deep into that first outside zone. Here comes Turk. A little bit of reduction angle there from Turk, but he keeps the pressure on as Visek gets into that second outside zone. Now wrapping through that second inside clip. Nice snap back around by Visek, but look at this. Turk in the pocket, stays there door to door. Incredible driving, not letting Visek get away as we wrap through that final section of the course. Unbelievable driving there by Peter Visek and Ryan Turk.
And just to think, Ryan Turk, you know, his vehicle out of commission after Long Beach. Here we go. Let's go to this. Slide him right for Ryan Turk gets the win, taking out Piotr Visek. So the probability of Peter Visek and James Dean out the window. That is nil. That is not going to happen. Our Final Four is set as the John Deere comes into that first outer zone. Clutch kicking. Look at that. Lacking the angle, but definitely kicking off a lot of dust there. All joking aside, our Final Four is set. Frederick Osbo, our #1 qualifier, goes against James Dean. Three champions in the Final Four, because Michael Essa goes against Ryan Turk. As I said, Ryan Turk totaling his car in Long Beach, taking his quote-unquote street car chassis, putting all the race parts on it, and here he is. He's fighting for a podium spot. He's in the Final Four. So again, Osbo versus Dean, Essa versus Turk. The Final Four when we return here to Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta for round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship, O'Reilly Auto Parts. Road to the Championship presented by Permatex. Don't go anywhere.
The Formula Drift Black Magic Pro.
Very exciting Road to the Championship presented by Permatex, as it is just a good time here at this Road Atlanta track. And our Final Four is here. Frederick Osbo versus James Dean. Osbo atop the hill. Michael Essa versus Turk. They are our next battle. And you can still see a slight sheen on the track. You can see the headlights illuminated, so it's still wet. And I mean, all things considered, it's still been really fun to watch, Ryan.
And it's been progressively getting more fun to watch.
Right.
The speeds are starting to pick up, so it seems like the risk level is still really high right? Because the drivers are going faster, they're getting a little bit more confident, but it's still wet out there. And everybody you hear that Lorette talks to says that the track conditions change from spot to spot. A little bit more grip in the horseshoe, very slippery on that inside clip, so it's just all the variables are what's making it exciting right now.
It's fun, man. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, And if you watch Pro 2, you can definitely see just the change, and hopefully the Pro 2 drivers are taking notes and they're taking a look at what's going on here. But this is our side lap, so we have All right, so as these drivers have their sight laps, you got to remember James Dean, he's had some issues already this year. That's why we haven't seen him on the podium ride.
It has really been about car reliability and certain problems that have popped up in competition that they really didn't think about, they didn't forecast, right? A lot of them
you can't forecast for problems, but these are new chassis. They look like the same ones, but they're brand new.
Yeah, and a lot of people I don't think knew that coming into the season from a fan perspective. All of us knew that, but you would expect brand new chassis to be even better than the last one. So they had a couple little gremlins, and it had an impact on his results. Peter seemed to get away with it. That's why he is currently a bit higher in the championship points, but no problems for James this weekend. He's been able to look like the James Dean of old, and that is arguably the most dangerous drifter in the world. Back-to-back championship. Let's not forget that he basically came in and has just murdered the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was only until last year, I think, that
got challenged by this man.
A lot of the drivers, including the guy that's on the line right now, really started to figure out what needed to happen. And that is how the sport has really progressed.
And look at this. Speak of the gremlins. James Dean goes to warm up his tires. Peter Visick, you can see his team. He's pulling off course. So just as we were talking about things going south.
Competition timeout.
A competition timeout is called by James Dean. So Frederick Osbo, who's on the line, man, you couldn't write this stuff. We say it all the stinking time. And Frederick Osbo, he is going to pull back up top because James Dean called his competition time out. So we'll go to the other side of the Final Four bracket. I want to send a quick shout out to my boys, Parker Jet, Tyson Bravo, I said his name incorrectly there. Tyson Bravo, Parker Jet, love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I know James Dean's mom's watching. She's cheering for her boy, both mom and dad, and all Ireland's watching. But again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Love you, Mom, and love you, Steph, and to see you guys tomorrow. So James Dean still stays in the cockpit, Ryan, and very unfortunate for him. There's no hands on the car. What's going on, Ryan?
Well,
any idea?
They obviously needed to take the competition timeout, otherwise they wouldn't have, right? So it's got to be something. Oh, it looks like they got a wheel off.
Oh, did they replace the front? Oh, they might have had a flat.
No, it looks like they're getting under there now. That looks like something that is not off the car, but maybe trying to go on the car.
So yeah, that front right, I think they might be replacing that front right wheel. But they're having issues get under the chassis. Gosh, look at that angle there from the WiseFab kit. Oh yeah, so they're changing that front right. I think it might have gone flat. Yep, okay, the car's up. Keep the brake on. So the team thrashing to get it off. Oh boy. You gotta move that front bumper there, bud. Okay, so front right wheel. I have to assume it was flat. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, if it's just changing the wheel out, it was obviously something that was much more simple than we thought. So no gremlins, just a flat tire maybe.
But that's
maybe
still
not,
a gremlin,
right?
man. That's still, I just imagine like the gremlin just riding outside the car going, popping the tire. I'll find you. All right, so there's a little pump up from his teammate, James Dean. Eyes fixed, ready to send it.
But truth be told, it is the one and only competition timeout. If there was a time to use it, that would have been the time, but that does mean that any mechanical problems. If Dean does get through Osbo, he will not have that competition timeout in the finals. And if something happens between this run,
right,
he's also in trouble.
All right, so look at that, Ryan. I'm seeing smoke, but that is still in the burnout box where a lot of the vehicles are ripping around. So haven't seen any rain in a while. The umbrellas haven't been out. Seen a lot of rain jackets, a lot of mud. So let's go to the other side. Look at that thing. That is Essa's nose of his vehicle. So let's go to the other side of this Final Four bracket. Michael Essa, Ryan Turk. The big story here, Ryan Turk going from totaling a car, getting it back out here. Michael Essa, he's had a great season already. He's definitely a contender for the championship, back behind the wheel of a BMW. Made that switch a few years ago, but you know, the way Essa drives, he's, like you said, Ryan, he's looking very comfortable in the rain. But Ryan Turk as well, as you said, as we narrow it down to the winner, the driving and the aggression, the comfortability, the ability in general has just really progressed.
Well, I was really surprised to see Ryan talking so openly to Lorette about the challenges that he had coming out of Long Beach, especially with getting concussed and having to deal with all that. And it's an injury that takes some time to heal, and he was very open with everybody in the general public about that in his interviews. And so this is a win for him no matter what.
Right.
On the other hand, Michael Essa is looking very settled in the rain, very consistent, and he's already gone through some tremendous battles here. And so I think we've got a doozy on our hands here in our Final Four.
Love these comments here. Yeah, he totaled his car, Jez Mecki. So, yeah, I'm just letting y'all know. Here we go, Ryan Turk and Essa here on their Final Four battle. Ryan Turk out front. He qualified third. Essa qualified 10th. Who's going to the finals? Ryan Turk initiates. Michael Essa, he throws it in, but straightens out a little bit. Now Ryan Turk heads up the hill. Michael Essa losing some ground, but now regaining it, coming into the horseshoe. Here comes Essa. Turk gets all the way out there. Oh, and Essa rubbing that back end of that Toyota 86. And now coming down the hill, he saw a quick correction of those 1552 wheels, wrapped in Nitto tire, and now around that final front clip. And now brings it on up.
Well, minus the initiation, that was a really solid chase run from Michael Essa. Let's see if we can see what happens here. Turk initiates, good angle. Essa initiates, but then has a reduction in angle and falls back a little bit. Now he's playing catch up. Here comes Turk up the hill, shooting for this first outside zone. Good job there. Here comes Essa closing the door. Very close to hitting Ryan Turk, but staying right in the pocket there and rubbing that left rear wheel right on the side door. Great job by Essa to swing back around, but Ryan Turk clean out front. Good job there. Then Essa falls back for a second now, switching things up to that final inside clip. And a good way to start off the Final Four. Both drivers laying down some solid runs.
All right, real quick, Atlanta, why don't you pull out your phone and turn on your lights. Let's light this place up and send it. Turn on your lights if you can. Again, light up this course. Again, you can turn on your light on your phone, so light it up here. The entirety of this course, Larry Chen requested it, so let's send it here. On three, yell send it. 1, 2, 3, send it, Atlanta. Michael Essa will lead Ryan Turk in that chase position. Essa initiates Ryan Turk right there on the door of that BMW. Wow, going through that mud. This track has definitely seen better days as the front end of Michael Essa, so some separation there of Essa and Turk. Now bringing into that front clip and bringing it around, exiting out of that horseshoe. Essa comes down, Ryan Turk right there. Let's see how they transition as Ryan Turk falls back just a little bit on that transition. Make some noise for Ryan Turk and Michael Essa.
Well, here we go. Second half of the battle, Ryan Turk and Michael Essa. Turk snaps initiation behind him, but Essa, huge angle on initiation, getting through that first inside clip. Now back on the throttle, heading up the hill. Some separation here. Turk falling behind, trying to play catch up now. As Essa, pretty decent job on that second outside zone. Turk tucking up here on that inside clip. Nice job switching it back around, nearly grazing the bumper of Michael Essa, and now really keeping the pressure on, but then on that transition falls back a little bit. He had a huge opportunity there to really shut the door, but a great job overall by both of these competitors, a solid Final Four battle, and now it's all up to the judges to find out who's going to be going on into the finals.
As his crew looks on there, the fellas look on for Ryan Turk, the Permatex top 4. Who's moving on to the finals? Michael Essa or Ryan Turk? Slide him left for Essa or right for Ryan Turk. Ryan says Ryan Turk. Brian says one more time. Andy says Ryan Turk gets the win. He's going to the finals. It does bear repeating. From totaling the car to now here, going to Lantagne 2-1. Again, there was a one more time there, but going to you, Ryan and Andy, saying going to Turk.
Yeah, for me, it was Ryan Turk's lead was really strong. Essa had a kind of a weird initiation. He didn't really get the car to angle quickly. And coming up the hill to make up his lack of proximity at initiation, he had to run a lot lower angle, and he ended up quite a bit on the inside trying to catch up to Turk. And he did, but he had to sacrifice too much.
Right on. Thank you, Lantagne. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Side lap is done. We're ready to go. This is full send. Again, break out those lights. Light up these champions. 3 championships between them. 1 time for Osbo, 2 time for James Dean. Break out those lights. Light it up for this battle. Who is going against Turk in the finals? Osbo or Dean? And here we go. Rockstar Engineering, Next Entire, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla hatchback. Initiates. Hits that puddle just barely. James Dean, really big angle. Look at that, he's pointed back up the hill. Bit of a backwards entry there almost as Osbo goes in that first outer zone. Some smoke being kicked off of that Corolla hatchback. James Dean right there on the door of the 5-door. The Wordhouse Drift Team Falcon Tires, Sylvia nosing in. Looks like he's being a little bit safe there. Whoa, Osbo, or excuse me, James Dean. Osbo kept it pretty consistent.
Number 1 and 2 in points last year. Final Four battle. We see a lot of these guys. Big angle there from James Dean in the chase position to make sure he doesn't go into Osbo, trying to measure the speed in these wet conditions. A little bit of separation here from Osbo. Osbo reaching deep into that second outside zone. Great job there. Dean tucking up on the inside on this second inside clip. Now wrapping back around. Here comes Dean in the chase position with Osbo out front, swinging around midline, wrapping through that final inside clip, and then James Dean angles up right past the finish line. Solid start there for both James Dean and Frederick Osbo. And now Jared will see James Dean go to lead. Frederick Osbo will chase him down. And it's a nail biter here to find out who's going to go to the finals.
Are you guys having fun out there, Atlanta? Make some noise. The place is still packed. Thank you, guys and gals. 16 years of FD Atlanta, still sticking around despite the conditions. We saw insane heat earlier. We saw clouds. We saw rain. We saw wind. And now we're seeing mud. It's a mud fight out here as, man, look at, you can see James Dean, the front end of that vehicle completely covered. And Frederick Osbo, man, that thing looks like it just got pulled out of the car wash. But I have a feeling after this run, it's going to look very different. You can see a lot of the mud and the clay, the signature red dirt being thrown on the front end of these vehicles as James Dean working those windshield wipers. And we got Jamie Dean, Jamie Dean. All right, here we go. James Dean out front. Frederick Osbo in that chase position. You can see him ripping that, yanking that handbrake, and then coming in that first front clip. Osbo sliding into formation. Right there on the side of James Dean is Frederick Osbo. Getting to that outside zone goes James. And now outside of the keyhole. Look at Frederick Osbo, the yellow and black shadow all over the defending champ. And Frederick Osbo going out early in Orlando. Ryan.
Oh, man. Well, it's a good initiation by James. A little bit less angle here from Osbo and a separation there on that inside clip, but then Osbo uses that to slingshot forward, tucking right up on the inside here. Nice job by Osbo on proximity. Here goes James Dean in the second outside zone. Went a little bit deeper there than Osbo did. Nice job by Osbo to keep the proximity on that second inside clip. Whipping it back around is James Dean. Right there is Frederick Osbo. wheel-to-wheel action. Transitioning back is Dean. Good flick. Osbo catches it. Little tiny bit, I mean, maybe an inch falling back after that transition, but man, this is going to be a tough run to call here. That was a great switch back there from Dean, and Osbo got right in the pocket, did not fall off, and then right there on that last transition, you can see both drivers starting to maintain that much quicker speed through the finish line.
Whoever wins goes against Ryan Turk in the finals. Whoever loses gets third place here at round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Who is going against Ryan Turk? Do we have a winner, or is it going one more time? Slide him left for James Dean or right for Frederick Osbo. Andy says Osbo. Ryan says one more time, and Brian says Frederick Osbo gets the win. Osbo gets the win, and they are advancing on. Lantain, you said one more time, so I don't even know if I should talk to you.
Yeah, you probably should, Jared. I just thought it was really close, and I'd like to see him go again. That was some top quality driving for this weather especially, and really tight battle.
I would have to side with the other guys, and obviously you got outnumbered, but
Yep.
I would say that Osbo's chase was just really, I think, something special, was that X factor.
The only thing that I didn't like about Osbo's chase was his lack of angle from initiation down inside clip 1, whereas James Dean, when he was chasing, actually had more angle than Osbo did coming down the hill. So
that's true.
Some
that's true as well.
Yeah, some errors were made by both, some great driving from both as well, and that's why I went with one more time.
Got it.
Yep.
Copy. All right. So again, our finals are set. Mud all across the track. As look at that, a fresh set of Nitto tire rubber. The cars look like they are thrashed. The drivers look exhausted, but they are ready to send it here in the finals. The two drivers, Frederick Osbo and Ryan Turk. The finals are up next. James Dean, he's locked in for third place here at round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Don't go anywhere. And the fans, we're gonna whip out the lights. We're gonna do some fan things here at Road Atlanta when we return. Nice, like the strobe.
The Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship is brought to you by Black Magic, NOS, and by the U.S. Air Force.
Before we get to the finals, Ryan Turk is with Laurent Nickel.
Ryan Turk takes the win, and I said, how is everything? Are you feeling okay? And what was your answer?
I'm feeling great. We got the adrenaline flowing. Our first finals of the year. We're stoked. Car's working awesome. The Nitto tire is working phenomenal in this wet weather, and hopefully we get this W.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll see if Ryan Turk flies the W here in ATL. Atlanta, how you doing out there, everybody? Oh, everybody's tired. Everybody's tired, Ryan. I said, how you doing out there, Atlanta? Much better, much better. I appreciate that. So be sure to tune in for our next round of competition. Ryan, where are we going? What day is it? What is it? Wall, June 7th and 8th. We'll be at Wall Township, Wall Speedway. What's up, Rutledge? How we doing? I saw you're camping in your front yard. I appreciate that. There it is. The Gauntlet, Wall Township, Wall, New Jersey, June 7th and 8th. Ryan, we've seen wet conditions there. And it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But even without the wet, I call it the circus track.
Yeah, we've seen river drifting there.
Oh my gosh, that was the torrential rain. I remember that DJ Miki Taka and Rod Chong and all those photos coming out, right?
Yeah.
But also just how crazy that was. But again, the worst rain I think was last year in St. Louis.
No question.
No question. I mean,
Maybe Jersey the one year when that cell came and picked up and destroyed Steph's truck, and then all the EA game stuff. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. But that was after the event. So that's fine.
Not fine, but it didn't affect.
I'd rather
didn't
have
affect
our equipment
competition.
get destroyed than not have a good competition. You
Wow.
know?
Okay. Like you're sacrificing.
Yeah.
Sacrificing the equipment.
I have to. I'm down to sacrifice.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. So, as you saw, Turk at the top of the hill get a fresh set of Nitto tires. His gum-out Toyota Racing Toyota 86. Again, he's got Permatex, and he's utilizing that Rain-X Frederick Osbo in that Rockstar Energy Drink Nexen Tire Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. He's in contention. Where was he in points again? Remind me.
Tied for 5th.
Tied for 5th. That's right. Him and Peter Visick.
Yeah. Well, I think we had him 4th and 5th, and same amount of points. So somebody took a little bit of a lead after qualifying, which would have been Osbo.
Speaking of Osbo is with our girl on the ground. What's up, Lorette?
Frederick Oswald takes the win and just takes a deep breath. How are your nerves going into the finals?
It's funny, when you move on from 32 into 16, the nerves go away a little bit, and then it becomes more and more fun as you go. And right now, it's like we're racing rental go-karts out there, you know, a little bit of tit for tat, and obviously James is the rainmaster, and you know, it took probably the better car for me to move on. You know, James drove better than me, but the boys have built a fantastic car. You know, you guys can all see the forward bite we have in this car, and that's no small feat for these boys that come from Southern California where it never rains. So having a lot of fun out there.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and what he meant there, the reference, the boys from Southern California, he means Papadakis Racing. Those guys all, you know, they operate both his and Castro's vehicle out of Southern California. These guys are hired guns. They come in, they drive, you know, and but yeah, I mean, Papadakis, he's very transparent. Have you watched or enjoyed? I mean, that's what I love about drifting. Is I was talking with Shabin, our kind of show director here for Behind the Scenes and Behind the Smoke, or you know, Insider, Formula Drift Insider. Is if you're an engineer and you like car builds, you can focus on that and be like, wow, that's a spectacle. It's a 4-cylinder turbo nitrous Corolla hatchback with 1,000 horsepower. All the vehicles are insane-o, but depending on what you like. Or if you like the driving ability, if you're a driver, you can focus on that. If you just like the show, like if you like to go to monster trucks, the show is here. All the elements are all captivating. But if you're an engineer, Stefan Papadakis, very trained. Pull out your phones, turn on your lights. All right, pull out. Come on, let's pull them out. Again, pull out your phone, turn on your lights. I want to see if we can get a light wave going. All right, I got mine out. So everybody put theirs put it up. Let me see it. Let's see you shake it a little bit, like stars. See, like stars in the sky. Go left to right. Look at that. This is their sight lap for the finals. Osbo and Turk. Shake it up a little bit. All right. So now what we're gonna do, when these guys head back, there you go. When they head back at the top of the hill. So we're gonna start with the people down in the bunker, and it's gonna go from basically it's going to go to your left, all right? So put your lights down and be ready to put them up. We're going to start a light wave. So the closest people down here in the bunker, right in front of the judges stand. Yeah, right there. You point them at me, right? All right, so you're going to put them up. It's going to come across to your left. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Bring it over here. Send it up. Boom. It's coming your way. Over there. It's going around. It's going to go across the track. It's going to come across the track. Now put it down. Remember, keep going. It's over there. See if you can keep it going. Come on. Atta boy, atta girl, atta kids. Keep it coming. Come on over here. It's coming back. It's coming back to the bunker. Boom, cross there it is. Into Team Rowdy, into Drift Scum, all that shenanigans. Are you ready to send it, Atlanta, for potentially the final night? Strobes are going off. Hold up those lights for Larry Chen. Hold them up for Larry. Ryan Turk. Frederick Osbo on 3. Let's yell, send it. 1, 2, 3, send it! Here we go. Osbo and Turk. The round 3 of the Formula Jet Black Magic Pro Championship. Osbo in that Toyota Race Toyota Corolla hatchback. It's all Toyota. Going in the rumble strip. Ryan Turk initiates. He's right there. Frederick Osbo. Good composure from him. Powers up the hill with that 4-cylinder turbo. The 2JZ engine backing off as he goes into that the second outer zone. Here goes Osbo. Front clip. And now out of the keyhole goes Osbo, Turk in tow. Now into what was the first and now is the last. Front clip! Oh boy! Right there, looked like it was just after that finish line, Ryan.
I love the risk that Ryan Turk takes here on initiation, right
Boom.
With Osbo, door to door through that first inside clip. But as soon as we transition, Osbo starts pulling away here. Turk now playing catch up, trying to get him into the horseshoe. A little bit of smoke coming off Osbo deep into that second outside zone. Here comes Turk, trying to close it, transition through outside the keyhole, down the hill now. Osbo switch back right to that last inside clip, and Turk just a little bit too hard, but it was right after the finish line. So good start by both drivers. Osbo a solid lead, Turk surging forward at the beginning, and a beautiful way to start our finals.
And here we go. Let's alternate the positions. Is this it? Let's see those lights light them up here as Ryan Turk will now lead our number 1 and our number 3 qualifier in the finals. James Dean locks up 3rd place. Send it, Atlanta. Ryan Turk out front in that gum out. Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 on Nitto tires. Goes into that rumble strip. Frederick Osbo back there quite a bit. Now transitioning out and up the hill. Frederick Osbo now gets to the side. No, Ryan Turk pulls away. Looks like we got some sweet spots there. Talking about the dry. Into that horseshoe. Pulls into that second front clip. And now transitioning out of the keyhole. Ryan Turk comes out of the keyhole. Down the hill goes Ryan Turk. It's an all Toyota battle. Is it the 86 or the Corolla that's getting the win? Make some noise, Atlanta!
Wow, incredible battle. This one's coming down to the wire here. Big snap initiation from Ryan Turk. Pulls a gap on Frederick Osbo through that first inside clip. Osbo tries to tighten it up, coming up the hill, reaching out to that first outside zone. But no, Turk denies him. Then Turk gets deep into that second outside zone. Now Osbo breaks through, really close to Turk through that second inside clip. Nice switch back around. Osbo tucks up on the inside. He did that really well against James Dean. And the final turn here, Turk trying to separate. Osbo not letting him. Both drivers push and nearly make contact across the finish line. Very, very close battle here. Oh man,
wow, Ryan,
that's a
awesome.
That's a tough one.
Great battle. Here it is. Let's go side by side.
Yes, this is what I wanted to see. All right, so we got, see Turk dives in. He's got great proximity here. He has separation on his lead run, but then Osbo starts bringing it in here. Osbo's a little bit closer going up the hill to outside zone number 1. Now you see Osbo get into outside zone 2, so does Turk. Both drivers are relatively similar there on that second inside clip. Now the switch back around. Osbo's a little bit tighter there. Turk falling back a little bit, now closing the door. Jeez, oh boy.
Ryan, do you think we have a winner, or do you think we're going one more time?
Oh, man. Look at this.
Oh, look at that. The Toyota executives there looking on with Jonathan Castro. And obviously, he's pumped. And I believe we might have a winner. We might have a winner here. And we do have a winner. Ryan Turk hasn't won since 2015, and he was second place in Monroe last year. We saw Frederick Osbo second in the championship last year. Make some noise for these gladiators of Road Atlanta.
I'm going to do something I don't know.
What do you got?
Go ahead, go ahead.
All right, you're going to do something what?
Actually, I don't want to know. I'm not going to look this time.
Okay.
I'm going to let you do it. I want to experience what it's like.
Well, Ryan, truth be told, I know you love that saying, because I'm going to lie to you, but it was not unanimous. Make some noise for these guys. And here they are, the final 3 in the rain. Some exciting driving. By our final 3 drivers. Make some noise for these drivers as they step outside of their vehicle. The 3 final gladiators here at Road Atlanta, enduring the heat, the dry, and now the wet. And now Mother Nature says no more, because these guys are going to bask in rain and champagne. As they step outside of their vehicle, make some noise for James Dean, Frederick Osbo, and Ryan Turk. Again, an all Toyota Racing, Toyota battle in the finals. And you already know who gets 3rd place. 3rd place in the Wordhouse Drift Team, Falcon Tires, S15, James the Machine Dean. And now your winner here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Your winner in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Road to the Championship, presented by Permatex. Round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Behind the wheel of the Toyota. Your winner is not unanimous, 2-1. The winner got 2 votes. The other judge went the one more time. The winner is Frederick Osbo. Frederick Osbo gets the win. Pilot of the Rockstar Energy Drink. Nexen Tires Toyota Corolla Hatchback is your winner. That means second place, hard fought, mud on the nose, and that gum out. Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 on Nitto Tires, Ryan Turk. It bears repeating, a new car that he began the season with. His team worked hard, they worked feverishly. So now I throw it down to Lorette Nickel as these 2 finalists. All Toyota. Lorette is with Osbo and Turk down there. Lorette.
Woo! Frederick, oh, congratulations. That is unbelievable. With going against such a beast of a driver in Ryan Turk, were you making risky but calculated moves to take this win?
There was no calculated moves right there. It was all out. Ryan's been on fire all day, and what a comeback for Ryan, you know, after a malfunction in the car in Long Beach, crashing the car, the team building a new car in 1 week, and here he is on the podium. And I was pretty darn sure that he would be #1 here because he drove like a bat out of hell. But I got to give it up to my guys as well. You know, I've always wanted to be a short course driver, right? And now my car definitely looks like a short course truck. It was so much fun. Steph and the boys have built a lightning quick car, and in conditions like this, it's all about that grip. So thanks to Nexen and everybody for making this one.
And Frederick, this has been a very challenging season for you so far. Do you feel like you're getting back on track with this win?
I mean, it definitely feels really good with a win. And, you know, I came into the season kind of trying to forecast what was going to happen. And, you know, the Ford boys are back in motion now. They really killed it in Orlando. You know, Ryan is back out here taking names, and it's not getting any easier. So it's been a roller coaster ride of a season so far. But here we are with the #1 win, and it feels really good. And, you know, we're traveling to New Jersey next, and let's see if we can repeat it. Whew. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Congratulations to Frederick Osbo with his win at round 3 here at Road Atlanta. Jared?
Thank you, Lorette. Congratulations. And Frederick Osbo shaking things up quite a bit as Osbo, I believe, he's going to run over to his now fiance, Hunter Taylor, and giving some fans some fives as, man, shaking things up in the points championship. Odie Bakshish, he gets knocked out all the way back in the, actually not all the way back, he was in the 8.
Grade 8.
Yeah, in the grade 8, but Osbo now shaking things up. Ryan Turk, that's awesome. Everybody's, I think, collectively stoked for him. And then James Dean, he's back on the podium.
Yeah, it's been 3 events, and with the exception of Odie winning 2 rounds, we've seen some pretty good diversity in the top 8 and even on the podium. So I think this is setting up to be a tremendous 2019 season. Can you believe that next round is halfway done with the season? And I know because it's been so fast in the first 3 months. there will be some breaks going on, but obviously hope that you guys join us at round 4 of the Gauntlet Wall, New Jersey, June 7th and 8th. We'll all be there, and we'll be battling out to find out who's going to be the leader.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ryan Sage. A real pleasure. And what a zany Pro 2 going into Pro. And Road Atlanta never ceases to amaze me. The fans, the driving, the excitement. Join us in New Jersey on behalf of Lorette Nickel, Ryan Sage. I'm Jared Dienda. We'll see you online or see you another time. Of course, we'll see you in New Jersey. Send it, Atlanta.